can never resist doing that. So I'm going to be ranting in this video. I'm going to tell you now, just get some whiskey, some bourbon, something. And every time I drop an F-bomb, take a shot. And you will be drunk as fuck before this video is done. And yeah, I'm sitting on a pink blanket. My mom made it for a baby. I'm not a baby. I actually just really like the blanket. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it on the display. I don't know if I have my lighting right. But it's like a rag quilt. And I thought it was cute. Pink and green are my favorite colors, so now it's mine. I remember the first time I ever read an MBTI profile. This is like 20 years ago. And this is the first time I read one on the ENTP. I remember sitting at my computer and looking around like I thought somebody was looking, like watching me. I don't know, freaked me out. Like, it felt like an intrusion into my privacy. It was really weird, actually. And this is now 20 years later. And, well, 20 plus years later. And I've been wanting to make a MBTI video on type policing for a long time. And, like, I think back in July, August, something like that, I thought about making one, and I had some other videos get really popular, and that kind of distracted me, and I never made it. And then I made one, and I felt like I just had too much ego in it. Like, I was really wanting to sell my credentials in MBTI, and I didn't like that because really that didn't matter. And I made another one, and I felt like I was just too off on a tangent, and I was like, fuck that too. And so now I'm on take probably 3, and 8 months later or something, and I guess we'll see how this one goes. But I don't really think MBTI has a whole lot of use, and I think it's pretty fucked up on the internet. There's so many videos about it, so many channels related to it, and I'm certainly not a MBTI channel. In fact, I think MBTI, for the most part, is horseshit. I think, I've talked about this before, I think it has some value to it as a frame of reference or a jumping off point, but I overall think it's bullshit. I used to just refer to it as MBTI, monkey balls type indicator, because I felt like it had no value. But a friend of mine told me that there's a video about me. And I'm not subscribed to any YouTube channels. I don't watch any of the videos about me. My channel, out of my 10 most popular videos, by far, in the top 10, I have 2 or 3 on interracial dating. I have 1 on my Tacoma. I have 1 on welding. I have 1 on flip phones. I have 1 on herpes. I have 1 about not dating a single mom. I don't think that I have any. Maybe at like number 10 is why I hate INFJs. And that's the only reason that's even in the top 10 is because INFJs, their little fucking angelic selves, really can't handle somebody saying anything negative about them, or having a negative opinion, so they have to watch it and scrutinize it. But so the whole point of this video, after 4 fucking minutes, is the whole type policing thing. Now, this is as old as probably MBTI. I mean, fucking probably not all the way back to Carl Jung, but probably all the way back to the 40s. Somebody was like, you're not that type, you're not that type. And there's so much attachment to type, people can't separate themselves from the type. But here's how you really should look at MBTI. Here's a healthy way of looking at it, and here's why type policing people is just fucking moronic. Like, it's literally just stupid. Like, get a fucking life. Seriously? Like, it's been going on in forums. I see it on Facebook. I see it on YouTube. I see it in comment sections. I've seen it in my own video comment sections. Get a fucking life, man. Actually figure out what MBTI is about. If you're in a place that you're trying to type police people, you're like really just, you haven't figured out MBTI, and you're just not progressing along your path. If you're 20, it's excusable. If you're 30, probably not anymore. And the reason being is, let's just think about MBTI like a tree upside down, or like a tree going down to the roots. you have each type, and there's types that are closer together, but you have the 16 types, and there's types that their paths kind of converge faster. So you're going to get better use of those functions. For me, let's call it INTP. I'm gonna start to probably be able to think a little bit more like an INTP fairly early on, and then maybe you get into ENFPs, and I'm gonna be able to think like an ENFP much later, because I'm not gonna get a really good use of FI for quite some time. But ultimately, all of them should start to merge until you end up in one spot where you no longer present like an individual type or any single type. You have enough use of your functions all the way from your dominant function to your inferior function to your demon function, which would, if you just ran this function stack all the way out, would be your 8th function. So ideally, you have a really solid grasp and use of all of them, and you're able to see many different perspectives. You're able to look at things from many different angles. You're able to fairly fluently, without expending a ton of energy, use your entire function stack. For me, some functions are very difficult to use, and I can feel them. It doesn't mean that I'm not fluent with them, but it does mean that it's definitely higher energy use. I could NETI all over everything all day long. When you start getting into FE, it gets a little bit more difficult. When you start getting into SE, I'm like getting to be overwhelmed. And you know, SI, forget about it. Like, I struggle with, you know, they're just more energy. But I find myself getting much better and much more fluent with them over time. So if I present to somebody like an ESTP, it's not an insult. The MBTI community loves insulting intuitives and saying that, oh, I think you might be a sensor. It's not a fucking insult. If I look like an ESTP, that's awesome. Like, all the effort I've put into being more present and being more aware of the environment that I'm in and just enjoying myself, fuck yeah, that's a win. I look like an ESTP, thank you. That's fucking awesome. If I'm being emotional and somebody's like, are you sure you're behaving like this? It's not a fucking insult. You're not insulting me. If you're telling me that I've got enough use of my FE that I'm presenting like maybe a dominant FE user or secondary FE, that's awesome. Like, that's a great thing. There's also people that just, they don't just directly fit in any one box. Some ENTP or some MBTI types fit really well into a box, and that's great. You fit, that's cool. Some people don't. They have a different skill set, nature, nurture, things come into play, and they don't fit. They're struggling to find themselves in the MBTI community. They're struggling, they're reading the descriptions, and I would say reading the descriptions is a great way to type yourself. Excuse me. You're going to know where you fit better than anybody else. You can watch somebody, and I would consider myself excellent at typing people. I can usually type people very accurately, very quickly, and it has definitely helped me in my life. Just figuring out what things might motivate a person and what directions to go in to communicate with them, and when to be softer, when to be firmer, and just how to adjust and better understand their perspective. But like I said, it doesn't fit for everybody. So it's really quite foolish. I find a lot of the people that want to type police are just hoping to bait people. They're really hoping to just kind of pull somebody in and get them to try to defend their type, which is a natural response. But just remember, if somebody's typing you as a different type, and I don't have much else to say about MBTI. It's not, like I said, it's not a focal point of my channel. I have a lot of hobbies and interests, and 20 years ago, MBTI was a big one. As I've matured and like through my own maturation process, I have started to sort of integrate it with other aspects of life, and it's just become a tool, and it's not something that is a foundation. I would never want it to be my channel. I'm 44 years old, and if I was still so focused on MBTI, I would say that I probably needed to do a lot more self-work. And, you know, for the YouTube channels, I don't feel like a lot of YouTube channels, if you look at my MBTI content, it's different than most. Most people are like, oh, the ENTP is very independent and they have a difficult time finishing projects. Translation, we buck authority, oftentimes to our own expense, and we are inundated with projects to the point that it causes us stress and anxiety, and we start taking on new projects to alleviate some of the stress of all the fucking unfinished projects we have. Or, you know, the very book, like, you know, you got some 20-year-old, you're 20, you don't know a motherfucking thing about shit. Your frontal lobe isn't even done cooking. Like, come on, man, you can't have a MBTI channel with any actual functional life experience. You know, so they'll be like, well, the INFJ is basically like an angel on earth without wings. They are very sensitive to conflict, and that's not a motherfucking MBTI channel. I can read a book for that fucking content. Like, tell me how this is impacting my life. Tell me how this is impacting their life. Tell me how. How is the conflict avoidance impacting their relationships, their self-esteem, their life, so that they can grow and they can get better use and more fluent with tertiary and inferior functions. Like, that should be the point of the MBTI community, to lift each other up, to help each other grow, to help each other figure stuff out. It shouldn't be to just affirm the fucking shit out of each other like a big like circle jerk. Like, what good is that? Like, what value is there in that? There's zero. The value is self-serving views, hopefully some money, and you know what? I mean, that's why I curse in every video I do. That's why I make my content unmonetizable, because I'm not here for money. I'm here to help people self-actualize, to help people grow, to help people learn, to learn and grow myself from your comments. I've been called out many times on some of my bullshit, and I always appreciate it. Somebody's probably going to call me out on the fact that I'm sitting on a pink fucking quilt, but goddamn, come on. Like, it's nice, right? You like it? Can you tell it's pink? I can't tell if it's showing up with the lighting or not. I really like this quilt though. I got a little zzz, like fuzzer thing. I should make a video on that, like a ASMR video or like satisfying video. Can you see all the pilling on there? Cause it's, anyway. So I think that's it. I think that's the end of my video. Yeah, okay. I think that's it. I think I said everything I wanted to say. I would love to hear your comments, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I would love, most of all, because I already know the flame comments, and, you know, I don't really care about those. I mean, I've been like, I've had YouTubers with over 100,000 subscribers like make videos about some of the stuff I say or talk about me, and I'm not really fazed by any of it anymore. YouTube certainly thickens your skin. And mine was already pretty thick, but I would like to hear your comments. The trolls, y'all are welcome to troll, but I would like to hear your comments about how MBTI has helped you. I would love to hear how you've matured with MBTI. I would like to hear the usefulness that you think MBTI has in your life, and I would like to hear what you think about the type policing stuff. You think it's just fun horseplay, or you think it's just like trolling and people trying to like ego boost or get views? Or alright, that's it, I'm out, peace. Does anybody know how many times I said fuck? I would like to know that.